Hello viewers, welcome. Just returned from the Battle of Waterloo. We just visited the museum site and we all had a fantastic day there. I went with the wife and two lads, 12 and 13. They had a fantastic time. The wife seemed to have a good time. I had a great time. It's very modern. I think it was just renovated for the 200th anniversary. Had these incredible little dioramas that we can see here. I could look at them all day. Also these incredible shifting paintings that really brought these images to life. We were there for hours. Beautiful sunny day. It would have been just a nice walk in the countryside, but also having that history there as well, really bringing everything to life, and just really interesting to learn more of the history. Waterloo was somewhere you hear about since you're a kid. The Battle of Waterloo. It's probably one of the biggest ever. And to go and see the actual site was a real treat for me. It was my 50th birthday present. It was really, really good. So first of all, heartily recommend anyone who's tempted to go, do go. Maybe go in summer when it's nice and sunny. Lots of stuff to see in the museum. The highlight was this corridor containing all these uniforms. You can't really judge how much time you have at the start of your journey, so I didn't spend as much time in there as I would have liked to. I could have been in there for hours, and I spent about 10 to 15 minutes looking at the uniforms. It was a real treasure trove for anyone looking at uniforms. You get to see how badly made they were as well. You know, they're not always fancy as we think they are. Some examples of weapons, a little scene set up with Napoleon having a meeting with his field marshals. Some more guns there. But a real treat to go and see different weapons there in the museum. There's some lovely portraits as well. I took some pictures of these portraits here of Napoleon, Wellington, Blucher, and William of Orange, who obviously sadly died. There were some reenactors. That's not a reenactor, that's me, having a little show, showing us the weapons, talking about the day, how it went, discussing the battle. For me, I always would rather have someone tell me about what happened on the day. Oh, he's going to fire his rifle. Let's watch that.
Go, lady, please not in front of the gun. This is Terminé. Arme gauche. Bouge, non. Regarde. Regarde. Portez les armes. Apprêtez vos armes. On joue. Fuck! I stopped here because he needs to sort out his rifle and reload. He did it in like about 10 seconds. Very impressive. Yeah, I'm a sucker for a reenactor. There's the Lion Mound that marks the place where William of Orange was wounded and did die. That was built after the battle. It wasn't there during the battle. You would wonder why he would have gone there. Otherwise, here we go. It's going to have a fire cannon now.
Waar staan we steken? Nee, het is er niet 3 uur, dus het zijn er 16. Ja. Zo. Komt goed.
Yes, back! Hot chauffeur! Fire!
And here's that Lion Mound again. It marks the place where William of Orange died.
or was wounded. There's the camp from the reenactors were, and here's some views. I think that's Hougoumont, and there's the fields at the Hay Saint, I think. That's where the French were. And here comes that's the Hay Saint. And here comes a panoramic, yes. There's a Hay Saint and the French. And then here comes Hougoumont, right in the middle there, where those trees are. There was much more trees on the day of the battle than in this video. Ooh, here I am, top of that line mound here at Waterloo. Bit of a climb. I'm not as young as I once was, but it's one heck of a view up here. Incredible. And you really get to see the lay of the land. It's not flat, and not like on the old tabletop when we play in our games. It's a glorious sunny day here, but it is flat. And I come from Norfolk, so I know what flat looks like. Yeah. But there's that little ridge. There's a little ridge. You can just see how they could have hidden behind that ridge. And the visitor centre. We went in. I could have spent all day just looking at the uniforms. That was a really good 3D video as well. Just took you through the battle. It was excellent. We just saw some reenactors fire a rifle, fire a cannon. Yeah, I'm not disappointed. I'm really glad that I came here today. It's going to be here. And I'm on the line, man. This is where William of Orange, the Prince, was shot. They built this monument here on the side. He was shot, wounded. He later died from his wound. But you're just trying to imagine all the troops. Hey, thank you. Just trying to imagine all the troops marching across here. We haven't been to Hougoumont yet, or any of the surrounding areas, but I thought while I'm here on the mound, let's have a little look around and just appreciate the view. Let's have a little look. Here we are, folks. Here's me looking at the battlefield. There's Hougoumont over there. There's the field over there. Cannonballs were flying, guns were being shot. I'll have to give you that explanation of tell you exactly what happened in my own style, short and sweet. Let's talk about the Battle of Waterloo.
And here we are, at the Battle of Waterloo, which actually was not at Waterloo, but that's a conversation for another day. And we have replicated the land in Belgium, the fields near Brussels, with my coffee table. So, what actually happened? Why do we get the Battle of Waterloo? Well, Napoleon escaped from the Isle of Elba and came back. We get the 100-day campaign where he raises forces, and the Allies were not very keen of this, so they decided to raise an army as well. Now, Napoleon, moved his troops. There were four main forces. We've got the Russians and the Austrians, way over to the east, were not an immediate problem. But the Prussians, represented by these Skittles, this one has Blucher, had gathered an army. And here we are, and here are the Dutch, the Germans, and the British forces here who'd been gathered. Now, here's Napoleon of his. I would like to have more blue Skittles, but that's how many came in the pack, so I'll make do with these. He had raised an army. He had 72,000 men on the day at Battle of Waterloo. I'm not exactly sure of the 30,000 he sent off with Grouchy, which we'll get into in a minute.
including that number, but I don't think they were. So maybe 102,000 men in total. So we have a bit of a problem. These two armies here are threatening immediately Napoleon here. So what's he going to do? So he sends Ney and some cavalry. Here's some cavalry to seize Quatre Bras and cement, and he sends his own men over here. So he's going to try and drive to stop the two armies coming together, because that's going to be a real problem, because they will outnumber them. He has 72,000 men at the Battle of Waterloo. The Allies here, the Anglo-Allies, have 68,000, and the Prussians have 45,000. So he hopes to destroy them in detail. We're going to take out one army and then take out the next army. So we have a battle at Ligny and at Quatre Bras. Quite decisive. Ney gets there a bit late. We already have it. Ligny, the Prussians are driven off. And Napoleon, apart from that guy, says, okay, Grouchy, you follow these guys. And you make sure that they aren't going to cause any trouble later on. However, the force originally was William of Orange, Prince William of Orange. It's taken over by Wellington, Duke of Wellington, and he's made a deal with Blucher that, if possible, they will always try and combine and face the French to give them more of a chance of winning, outnumbering them, more troops. So they succeed partially, the French. It's a victory because they managed to separate the two armies, but it's a real problem. So Grouchy sent off to follow the Prussians to make sure they didn't come back. Wellington retreats over here to where the Battle of Waterloo is going to take place. I'm going to move these armies to show you how we set up. So he had, a year earlier, seen a perfect site for a battle. And here is a lovely British ridge, represented by this red licorice. And he sets his troops up. So it's on the ridge. So cannonballs, they can hide behind the ridge quite nicely. And there's a slope down, so the French troops will have to march up the hill and face them at the top of the ridge. There we are. The pink ones are Brunswickers. They didn't have any black skittles. We've got some 95th Rifles, but we've also got a couple of buildings as well. We have Hougoumont here on the west, and Les Saint here on the east flanks here, which gives you nice two little defensive buildings to hold and defend your wings. We get some 95th Rifles here, and we get some Nassau over here, and there was definitely some Anglo, some Germans, some Hanoverians over here. There we are. So Nassau, 95th, some more 95th over here, and Dutch. And there's a lot more Dutch here, but again, this is what came in the packet of skittles. There we are, in square, behind the ridge, and these guys are holding the Hay Saint and Hougoumont. Now, it rained. This is really bad news for Napoleon. He was an artilleryman. He'd learned his trade as an artillery officer, and he had specialised in making some really big guns called Napoleons, unsurprisingly, named after himself. And let's put some. The British are holding the buildings. Here we go. And there's some Germans holding this one here. Yeah, he was specialised in artillery, and the wet ground, it rained all night, and it was very soft. So rather than having the cannonballs bounce in a straight line through the troops, they were sticking in the mud. And he had more guns. He had 246 guns to the British, but 156 guns on the day. And he was a master artilleryman, so he was really hoping to use that to his advantage. But the ridge and the soft ground really held things up for him. Now, it started off, first of all, there was fighting at Hougoumont. Now, at Hougoumont, there was terrible fighting all day. The French did manage to get through the gate at one point, but they were driven out, and Wellington was like, we need to hold Hougoumont. The Hay Saint, it was terrible fighting at the Hay Saint. Towards the end of the day, it did fall. There's some French coming in, there we go. But if it had fallen sooner, that might have caused the whole collapse of the wing. But the French decided to march in column. Oh, look, some handy column here. Here's the French lines. The French lines are here. How convenient that they make a blue licorice as well. And they're charging up in lines. They see, for moving in column, it's smaller tight when you can punch through the lines. The British pulled back and formed square. They got up here and then they were driven back to be followed by the British cavalry. Scots Greys come charging. Here we go, some cavalry over the top, chasing them back, killing loads of the French. But as it turned, their horses were blown, which means that they'd used all their energy up. They couldn't charge anymore. And that's when more French cavalry came sweeping in and destroyed the English cavalry. Yeah, so you'll remember this scene if you've seen the film of the Battle of Waterloo. Take my pocket watch. No one's leg's been blown off yet, though. Then Ney commands his forces to attack the middle. They charge over the ridge. They're in square. Get absolutely destroyed. And this is probably when Napoleon, at least according to the movie from what I've seen, is not on the field. He's having a little break because he's not feeling very well. And the French cavalry get decimated in return. It's getting late in the day, and we forgot about the Prussians. Well, don't worry, late afternoon, about 4 o'clock, who turns up? You see, Grouchy had been following them. He must have been hearing the sound of the guns, but instead he decided to eat some strawberries on a farm. And they left a few troops behind to lead the French on, to think they were still there. But then at 4 o'clock, the Prussians arrive, and they're in real trouble. The Haste Saint falls. Hougoumont is set on fire. So desperate, real desperate fighting at Hougoumont. Legendary acts of bravery there on both sides. And Napoleon decides he has to send in the Imperial Guard. They come up the middle. They go over the ridge, and there's loads of troops hiding just behind the ridge. And when they were close, almost point blank range, they jump up, shoot into the Imperial Guard, the elite corps of the French army, and cause them to break and flee. And with them gone, it's a collapse. And they flee the battlefield. And then Blucher and Wellington meet up. Here you go. Shake hands and go, good job. Well done. And 2 or 3 days later, I think it is, Napoleon abdicates. Could have gone differently if Grouchy had reacted to the guns and come to help, if it hadn't rained, if Wellington hadn't found this perfect location a year before to have this battle. Certainly if Le Haye Saint and Hougoumont had fallen earlier in the day, could have been a very, very different result than it was. But there you go. That's my very quick and very delicious Battle of Waterloo. Hope you enjoyed. So there you go. That's my telling of the Battle of Waterloo. But there behind is Hougoumont, and I'm on the Lion Mound. And yeah, take care. Speak to you soon, guys. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. There's an incredible panoramic painting from about 100 years ago that people used to travel to come and see that depicts the Battle of Waterloo, and it's certainly worth a quick visit. I guess it's the IMAX of its day. Enjoy. after looking at the panoramic, we headed down. We walked downhill to Hougoumont, and you can really see in the crops here the slope down to Hougoumont. And look at that slope there. It was a nice sunny day, a nice little walk, better than walking in the rain. And the Hougoumont farmhouse is beautiful, serene compared to how it was on the day. And here I am, standing in front of Hougoumont. We went in. There is a lovely little chapel, and there is also a lovely little bar where you can get yourself a delicious drink. Waterloo themed beer, which was delicious. So I'd recommend going and have a look at the north and the south gates. That's the north gate, and here's the south gate, where all the fighting was taking place there. So do go and have a look at Hougoumont as well if you're there. It's well worth a visit. And there's the building that burnt down. That was a little hospital. Here I am at Hougoumont. From the top, it doesn't look like it's actually that much of a slope, but let me tell you, walking down, you realise just what a slog it must have been coming up that ridge. As a French infantryman in the mud, all that gear being shot at. It's so peaceful here. It's a lovely sunny day. You can see, oh, there it is behind me, there's the mound, but it's quite the slope. We'll get the shuttle on the way back to save us walking up that hill. But yeah, just going to look at Hougoumont. And here I am at Hougoumont. Yeah, just have a quick chat really to say how, it's a lovely day. I'm not going around the Battle of Waterloo in the rain as they did on the original battle. It's Hougoumont behind me. It's really nice, just a really nice fun day. If you're thinking coming to Waterloo, I would recommend it. Watched some videos. There was a rather weird AI generated one we watched at the end, but the other stuff has been really, really, really good. There was a corridor full of costumes. I could have just stayed and looked at those all day. You have to pace these things about knowing exactly what's coming in the museum. But just this little walk down here to Hougoumont was really nice. We're going to get the shuttle back and just spending a bit. There's a cafe, we had a beer. That's always a winner. But it's just so peaceful and beautiful out here. I came with some 12-year-olds, 12 and 13-year-old lads, and they've had a really good time too. So, is it worth it? Yeah. If you're on holiday, just spend a day. Come to Waterloo. Come walk the site. Appreciate the lay of the land. It's not as flat as it looks. And there's a guy who grew up in Norfolk and summers in Saskatoon, so I know flat. Yeah, it's a really nice place. Come again. Cheers, everyone. If you made it this far, thanks for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed the video. More wargaming next week, I'm sure. Take care. If this video has made you laugh at any point or even been helpful, please like and subscribe.